Alright, so the play, Hot and Throbbing. Thought it was pretty good. It was, somewhat disturbing to read as I struggled through some of it just because I've dealt with some of the, I've had two, rewind, sorry. The book has two main themes, pornography and domestic violence. And I've dealt with the domestic violence. It's happened in my family. That's another story. Don't want to go too into that if you don't mind. Um, so yeah, I could relate to this book, but it's kind of hard to read just because it's a struggle that I've been through. So I feel these kids' pain. Um, as the other group members have told you already. Um, the book, it's about the Dwyer family. The mother, Charlene, has divorced from the drunk, washed up, jobless Clyde. Um, Charlene writes pornographic novels for a living, and then their daughter, Leslie Ann, is a messed up teenager that is kind of a slut, dresses very suggestively, and dances at a strip club. And then you've got Calvin, who is this perverted little kid that watches his sister undress and peeps on her or whatever and masturbates a lot, which is just he does his own thing. But it's like the kids, they don't really have any guidance in their life. There's no father figure, and their mother is always typing at the computer and is not really engaged in their lives, which I think is tough. Which is like another. It's almost as like it's another form of abuse. It's not like physical; it's emotional. That these kids are just basically living all on their own, and I'm sure it's tough. Like I can't even imagine having to like go through life without a parent, even just a dad. I mean, I love my mom and all, but I love my dad a lot too. So if he was never there, it'd be awful. So that in itself would just be a huge emotional toll. I'd be crushed. So I don't know, and especially if I knew he was off somewhere drunk, it would just piss me off even more. But that's besides the point. Fact of the matter is, he's a bad guy, but the kids don't know it. He's got a great relationship with Leslie Ann, which messes up Charlene's relationship with Leslie Ann because, you know, Clyde is always, being the super cool dad and giving her money or whatever and being all nice to her, and, kind of Charlene is seen as this bad guy that doesn't let Leslie Ann do anything fun really, and is like, Leslie Ann, you gotta do your homework, listen to me, blah blah blah, don't dress like that, don't talk like that, and Leslie Ann just won't have any of it, and so Dad's just this laid back guy that lets her do whatever she wants because he's never around. And another reason Charlene and Leslie Ann's relationship isn't so good is because Charlene writes female erotic novels, it's just a nicer way of saying pornographic novels. It's like tomato, tomato, really. But Charlene's just always telling the kids that it's not. She doesn't write porn. She's not trying porn like objectifies women, and Charlene is not doing that. But Clyde tells Leslie Ann that she is writing porn, and it really pisses Charlene off. And so that's another issue of how pornography and domestic violence are tied in to one, which is what Paula Vogel was trying to do in this book, was, kind of educate you on those issues. But sort of indirectly, it was more of like, it wasn't just an informational book, it was like it's a scene really. It all takes place in one night, and it's, we hear about the past with Charlene and Clyde's relationship and the abuse that Charlene had. And then there's also, there's a few fights in the book between Clyde and Calvin, and then between Charlene and Leslie Ann, and then between Charlene and Clyde. Charlene actually shoots Clyde in the butt when he breaks into her house drunk later on in the novel, or play, excuse me. And so yeah, it's just there's just a lot of problems in the home, which is it's like what Paul Vogel is trying to show us is that the domestic violence is it's a real issue that happens. It happens every day, and not a whole lot can be done about it because it's kind of hidden. It's people don't really talk about it that much. It's frowned upon, really. And so I thought it was interesting to read about it, and kind of like I said earlier, I've it's happened in my family, and I've really never said anything or acknowledged it really because I just don't get involved because it doesn't affect me. You don't have to worry, be scared. I'm not getting hit or anything. Um, just erase that. But no, overall, I did like the book. It talked about some touchy issues of mine, but I think it is it's important that it's people read about this and know about this, and it's kind of like that's like Paula Vogel's style, really. She writes about these controversial issues that people don't really care to talk about, and I think that's a problem because they're important and people need to talk about them. So I did enjoy the book, and I think that it was, it's important, and I like the fact that she throws herself out there and is, kind of like she doesn't really care what other people think of her. She writes what she wants to write and what she thinks is important, and that's what she did in this book, which was I thought it was cool.